Sid Smith, King in the Court of King. In the Court of King Crimson is the book. It has been deleted. If I was in charge, and you asked me what would do, I would say delete that track. Yeah. So the last I heard was that Sid Smith was trying to get the rights from the publisher because it stops in 2001 or something like that, or 2000.
So they need another edition.
Yeah, you need. Then again, maybe it's best to wait a couple of years now and to finish it off, maybe. So yeah, it's hard to get hold of. So that's interesting, but it's a particular type of book.
I love the quote on the front that they got from
Yes.
Robert.
Sid Smith's opinion is worthy of respect. From RoboFrip.
So non-committal, isn't it?
Yeah, because he did say, why would anyone want to do a biography of King Crimson? That's boring. Don't do that. But he does know things about King Crimson, so therefore I respect your opinion. Yeah, it's a particular type of book is the thing. That's what we're talking about. And we've reviewed The Drummers. So we did Bill Bruford. That was a particular type of book as well. Different, but a different particular type. And then we did Phil, which is a music biography, autobiography in the traditional sense. And Nick Mason, which isn't a biography at all. It's just a book about Pink Floyd. So this is different again. This is a nerdy
third party.
Yeah, so it's not. Oh, they were taking all the drugs, and then stuff happened, and then the stuff with fish happened, which I'm not going to mention, etc. And then there's some stories that we've made up for this book. This is the list of facts. Here are the facts. This is the songs, and it's about the music. Importantly, it's not musical analysis. There's a little tiny bit of it, but not very little. You don't have little staves and they did this bit. It's just about the music. Good. That's what we, isn't it? That what we want? I think that's what we want. Music biography. He fell out with him, and then this happened, and blah blah blah. So novel. Not only do they talk about the albums that were released, but each song that was released on each album. And I think that, for me, that's the perfect balance. It's probably very nerdy, actually. Feels a bit abridged. It's quite short. It could be a lot longer. But then again, that's the nerdy thing, isn't it? I want the gatefold double album version.
I mean, I got to admit, I don't particularly like. You say it's about the music. I don't. How to explain this without, I don't like being told what I think the music should feel like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because it's his description.
And how I should analyse it, if you're going to analyse it. I mean, I can accept that type of stuff if it takes it to a more philosophical sort of level. Like, I've read sort of film things about the alien universe and stuff like that, which doesn't tell you how you should enjoy the film, yeah. But it tells you, it's actually quite interesting about how it, how there are subtexts in the film about sexuality and stuff like that, which is really, really interesting and kind of augments it.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is something like that, which is actually going to augment the listening. Now, King Crimson is potentially quite impenetrable,
mysterious.
Yeah, to the newbie. So it's not all that bad in that sense. It's not like, oh no, I'm not gonna.
Do you think, although it describes every song,
it can help.
Although it describes every song, do you think it's for people who've already heard the songs?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, and it's sort of like, do you agree with me? This is what's going on.
I mean,
but it's not all that. I mean, it's not all that. I mean, it gives good background information into each album and stuff like that. And King Crimson, I've got to be a very difficult band to write about.
Yes.
Seeing that, Robert
whatever you say, Robert Fripp's going to go wrong.
Yeah. And he's not going to give you any support in correcting it. He's just going to say, wrong. Why are you writing this? What a stupid thing to do.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Wrong. Why would you even do it?
So actually, on that front, I mean, you're not going to get much better than this,
Yes.
And so it's actually quite an interesting. You're right. The format is quite interesting, and the way it focuses on the music.
And that in itself makes a point. Music biographies, and why aren't they about the music? I mean, I've finally finished that Queen one because I put it down for weeks and weeks. I got to about 85. I got to Live Aid. I can see now why the film ended on Live Aid. That was weird because it isn't a happy ending. And after that, it's just worse albums, and he gets ill, and then he dies, and that's the end.
I've watched the film now.
You've watched the film?
Sarah and I went to watch it a couple of weekends ago. I actually quite enjoyed it, and I still came away thinking, what a bloody shame.
Yes.
I didn't, I thought the portrayal of the characters were just completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really comical. Yeah, and it was like it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, but I still came away thinking, what a bloody shame,
Yeah, because creatively, he did write more stuff, but by the mid-80s they were done, really.
Yeah. I mean, they'd had quite a good run. But yeah. So anyway, back to the book.
I read the Queen book, and that it mentions then they released this album. It had this song on it, and then Brian May did a thing in the studio, but he disagreed with him, and then the song came out.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually... Whereas, compared to... Let's find something. Uncharacteristically, this Crimson album begins with a languid 10-minute stretch as Burrell delivers the tale of Sinfield's tour of the sun-drenched Balearic Islands. Veteran jazz pianist, The pianist who replaced Rubin was, of course, Keith Tippett, in his own words, blah, 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 blah. Over an unobtrusive but leaden backing. Leaden? Would you say leaden?
Yeah.
Lead heavy backing. Pauline Lucas, a soprano from the solos, blah, 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 blah. President's piece, it undoubtedly is. It takes a long time to say very little. And then there's a string section, and there's brass, and a darker theme. And any attention injected in the piece is then almost too late. So it's about the making of the song and about what came out of that making of it, not just the people did a thing and then, but he was only there for 2 minutes and then he went off and had a party.
Mm-hmm. I suppose one of the things about King Crimson that's interesting about King Crimson or whatever is the sort of where do they fit in things, because no one's going to write I should imagine someone might write a book about a pop band, for the right, just write successful albums that are to be consumed at that time relatively easily. But I mean, King Crimson are more than that, and there is music that is more than that. Yes,
and you would expect to read about the music in a book about King Crimson.
Yeah.
Well, not, do you see the trousers that singer wore? Wow. Look at those amazing beige trousers.
I mean, I've got a book on Duke Ellington up there, and there is a lot of background in there.
Yeah.
And they just try to inform the music, how the life informed the music.
I assume there's a lot of actual musical stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
With jazz, you'll get it much more.
Yeah. Obviously, that's kind of difficult to pull off with King Crimson.
I've read a couple of Miles Davis biographies, and there's some fantastic ones. I've read his own autobiography, but I couldn't get through it because the way he writes, it made me feel racist. The way he writes, he's like, this was motherfucking this. But there is. I suppose there's no bullshitting. I mean, you can disagree with what he says because you're being told, there's nothing happening. It's a famous phrase, isn't it? And is an opinion. But there's no bullshitting. There's no on the wings of and then the sun came out and the bullshit something. Yes. It's not the Fripp story, it's the King Crimson story. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of it is going to be that. And Robert Fripp is difficult. And some of that is quite funny. And I think that's very entertaining, and you need that. I mean, it's like the Pink Floyd book. In fact, like all three of the other books we did, really. A lot of it is because the people are quite funny, and they did funny things, and it's entertaining. And Phil's book, there's some hilarious stuff in there. It's funny when you're removed from the situation. I mean, I don't think it was funny at the time for the other people. With Red, and the recording ready, he just announced that, what's the phrase? I'm going to remove myself from the decision-making process. Withhold the passage of my opinion. That was it. What does that mean? I'm not going to say anything there. I'm not doing it. That Elton John was going to audition. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's just, it makes me think of what's his name? Crooner. Name a big 80s crooner.
80s?
80s crooner. So easy,
Michael Bolton?
Michael Bolton. Okay, Michael Bolton auditioned for Black Sabbath. Really? Yeah. But the problem with Black Sabbath was you needed an amazing singer to sing the notes. So they were... and yeah, Elton John was going to audition, and this was booked by the record company or whatever. But Fripp said, but I heard his album, and the album was poor, so I cancelled the sessions. He didn't say it wasn't really suited to King Crimson, he just said, no, the album's crap, so sorry, cancelled. So he never did actually audition.
I mean, Elton John probably could have... I mean, I'm sure he's a very good pianist. He's a classically trained pianist, isn't he?
Yes, that must have been part of it. Yeah. I thought, we can do, and he can sing. Apparently he was on like Oprah Winfrey or something, saying about how he'd been traumatised by being let down by King Crimson.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
I mean, but in Fripp's defence, a lot of the people who have been banished are incredibly self-important individuals. I do think, Greg Lake was awesome, but he's very self-important. He's very, my singing, and you can't really be like that. In King Crimson, that causes serious waves. Because of the sort of freedom of it, you can't really be like that,
Well, I mean, Bill Bruford about his time in King Crimson was, your job was to do it right first time.
Yeah.
You're not told what you've got to do. You just got to do it right first time.
Wrong, no, not doing it. So they just sit
You're
around.
banned.
Nothing's said. They just sit there in the rehearsal studio. The money's piling away. No one says a word. They just sit there and wait. Have you done it yet? But Billy's incredibly abrasive. That's just his personality, and he's really witty. I think Billy's incredibly funny. There's talk of typos. I've looked at a couple of reviews. I can't remember any typos. They're probably in there somewhere.
Who gives a crap about typos?
I'm sure this is first. It's probably only one edition. Yeah. So, let's see.
I mean, find a book without a typo.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't say. That means first edition.
Probably does, actually.
Because, obviously, I read about it being written and they ordered it when it came out, so that would have been it,
Yeah, I would say this is the first edition. Might be worth some money, Kev.
I think it must be now. It's been deleted.
Or deleted.
There's lots of talk. The usual stuff is all in there. Watch the reviews of King Crimson I've done. You can watch those. Is Fripp the leader? Isn't he?
He's got to be, isn't he?
It's nonsense, isn't it? And he himself compares himself to Miles Davis. Is Miles Davis the leader of the Miles Davis band? Yes. Yes. It doesn't mean he's the lead player. It doesn't mean he's playing the solos. He's not Adrian Belew or the very famous saxophonist who's very good. Him.
Mel Smith. That one.
No. I mean in Miles Davis's band.
Oh.
John Coltrane. He's very famous. Yes, him. Sid Smith is a great character. Actually, he's not just in this book. He's perfect for being commentator of King Crimson because he's very unpretentious, which is really useful.
Yeah.
And he grew up with it, and he gets the new stuff. So he's not just an old man, And he's a Geordie. So the first time I heard him speak was quite funny when he was saying. I think it was actually the top 10 prog rock, and he's saying about discipline, and he's saying, well, where's the mellotron? What's this blokey going on about? And then you recognise it as King Crimson. It stops in 2001. That's its flaw. That's now a big gap, and we now know cuts out the end of the story. Well, not the end. The hugely important thing. Of part of the story,
Why can't you just write?
You might have already done it.
An addendum and release it as a separate book.
There's probably enough, isn't there?
Yeah.
And remember, he writes all the liner notes, always has liner notes in them. In the big box sets where there's several liner notes, one of them is Sid Smith. But he's a writer, he has to be paid to write, I suppose, so he needs, How did we rate the books? Can you remember how we rated the books? Did the books have a rating?
We rate everything, Kev.
84.3%.
Oh dear, that's about 5 eggs. That is.
I don't know. Well,
Actually, that might be 6 eggs. That's like
I don't know. I just made a number.
a first.
It's a first.
1-1.
Yeah. They're all the books we've done are different.
Thankfully.
Well, yeah. So this is another good one. It is in the realms of Bill's book. It's not as good a book as Bill's book, because Bill's book is quite unique and has something to say and all that stuff. This is about the albums I already know. Facts I know. Thanks. So yeah, but it has much more value than Phil's book for me.
Is it definitive? Is this the definitive King Crimson book?
It's the only King Crimson book, as far as I know. I think there might have been a very, very old one, but it is because it's the only one that goes all the way through.
I mean, theoretically, if it's definitive, it should be It should be 6 eggs, really. But because it finishes in 2001, there is obviously a big gap there.
Yes.
So maybe it should be 5 eggs.
Yeah, and there's
I don't think you could give it 4.
I think you could argue. Yeah, maybe 5 eggs, because on the one hand, someone who doesn't know all the songs, it's Sweet in C. Talking about what Sweet in C is about. If you don't know Sweet in C, it's quite a boring read, probably. Whereas, if you already know it, well, he's just writing about the thing you already know. So there's an element of it being quite bland in that sense.
But if he picks up on something that you hadn't picked up on, it would encourage you to go back and listen to it again.
Yes.
Or if there was something I don't like that, and then he explains, what he thinks is going on, you're like, actually, that makes sense. Let's go listen to that again.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a buyer's guide. If you've got Lark's Tongues and Red, and you haven't heard Stars and Barbara Black, you'll probably buy Stars and Barbara Black as a result of reading this book. It will pique your interest. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, 5 bookworms.
Fumph.
Out of 6.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done that now.
Yes, it's finished. That's the end of that bit. Complete.
Finish.
We've ticked that one off. See you next week for the thing that we're doing. We're not recording in the order, so